Hi, it's Jeff Chalmers here from discoverdouble-bass.com, which is the home of online learning for the double bass. So if you want to learn something new, please go and check out our lessons, our courses, interviews. It's all over at the website. Right now we're continuing with our new series where we ask questions to the world's greatest double bass players, and we're back with the legends of classical music. So here is the question. Can you recommend a favourite technical exercise which has really helped you over the years?
I recommend for all bass player and all instrument player to play the scales, but I recommend the scales not like scales like music. Recently, that's a gift for you. Recently I discovered the universal fingering for all the scales, and the same fingering for all the scales. This is the example.
So the technical exercise that I like to do, and I like it because it actually, it seems, it's very simple, but it puts everything together. I mean, it's this motion here. So if you put your thumb on the octave and your first finger a fourth above it, and then without moving your arm, and just pull back to third finger a tone below. So in orchestra tuning, let's say you had a G harmonic. That's a good idea in orchestra tuning. G harmonic, first finger C, it would mean that you're pulling your hand back to third finger B flat, like that. And just nice, easy, effortless motion. I'm going to do it like that. It sounds like this. Eventually, you take your thumb with you. You don't leave it there. You just do that. And that motion of that, as opposed to moving like that, that's slow shift and pivot. That's what I call the exercise, slow shift and pivot. no force, no fast shift. Look. I can completely control that third. When you get good at this, you can do vibrato all the time. And the same motion applies back here. It's just that. It's not the arm. It's just boom, 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 boom. So if my fourth finger's on B flat and I just move to the C like that, that's all it is. Dong. See? No muscle, effortless. So I'm going to do it here. So or see, I don't try and push it back. Just a little bit of this will get rid of any shift sound. Completely seamless shifting. So, for instance, or it also gives you this rotation. I do it much lower. Anyway, that's slow shift and pivot. I should mention too that action. You use it for everything. So it's actually not going. That shift is actually no harder than that shift. Enough.
A technical exercise. I don't think I would want to recommend just one exercise in particular, but I would like to recommend, without reservation, the 30 Etudes by Simandl. And the reason I think that they're important is because they deal with all the fundamentals of bass playing. The production of sound, bow distribution, hand shape, articulation, dynamics, all the fundamentals of music. The other thing which is beautiful about them, in much the same way as I feel about Dragonetti, is that they use what I call the bread and butter register of the instrument. It is my contention that anybody who can play the 30 etudes by Simandl will be able to earn a living as a musician. And I'm reminded about something Sir Neville Mariner said to me when we spoke many years ago. He had just listened to one of my solo recordings and he said, "My God, that's lovely." But he says, "You do realise that as a double bass player, you are prized and valued overwhelmingly for your virtuosity in the low register of the instrument." And that is a fundamental truth. Any bass player who can command the 30 etudes of Simandl will earn a living.
So one of my favorite exercise, technical exercise, is about rhythm, because it's really important to have the stronger rhythm, sense of rhythm as we can, because when we are bassists, it's especially really important. So I practice usually with metronome, but not on the strong beat, like we all know this kind of. For instance, I have the extract of Beethoven's 7th Symphony. You know the really famous moment with Sicilian, tadam pam, badam pam, badam pam, tadam pam, badim pam, tadim pam, this movement. So we are used to put the metronome here, tadam pam, badam pam, badam pam. But when we hear a lot of people play this extract, we always have the same constatation that the rhythm is not feel. We have a lot of people who play tam badam pam badam pam badam pam badam pam, and it's not tam badam pam. So people are frequently play the badam pam too early. So I will try to put the metronome on the 7th, 8th notes to feel badam pam badam pam badam pam badam pam. I will do it slowly because it's not easy, but it has to be really clear, and I have to feel it. And if I can feel that, and on the silence bar too, because it's important to know that if someone in the orchestra and other instruments play on the 2nd 8 notes, it cannot disturb your perception of pulsation. So I will try to do that. Two, three, one, 2, 3, 1. So I had a little thing not clear in So it was because I think I was too fast on my long notes or something like this. But you can see that. So that is an example of exercise you can do for your rhythm.
Yes, about exercises. Teaching where I go to play, and and what I have done has gave me the impression that most of bass players have weakness in their left hand. So I find very important to emphasize, to reinforce and fertilize the left hand. Therefore, you have plenty of exercises. And those that I use are those by Petracchi, Franco Petracchi, in his highly advanced technique book. So that one which is fifths. Mi, si, la, si, mi, fa, mi, si, la, si, mi, fa, do, si, do, fa, sol, fa, do, si. So the main thing there is that your index finger always stays pressing the string, and you never raise it and you never lift it off the string. This is the main goal, and that's how I warm up every day, fertilizing the left hand. And of course, if you add to this exercise and also other exercises, the hammering of the left finger on the fingerboard, that you really hammer every single note, pam 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 pam, and also on scales, like those again by Petracchi, on 3 mode, la si do re do re mi fa mi fa sol la sol la si la si la sol fa sol, mira mira do do la si do re do re mi fa sol la si la si la sol fa sol, mira mira la si do re mi fa mi fa sol la si la si la sol fa sol, mira mira do la do si do re mi fa sol fa sol la si la si do si la si la sol la sol fa. If you do that also on hammering, you're fertilizing the left hand. So this is what the Russians call staccata of the left hand. And I find it very important because when I have come to teach people, they don't even thought about it, and it seems to be not the easiest thing. Of course, it's always good to refresh your vibrato with the sequence of different rhythms, with the eighth, with the metronome in 60, the quarter, then eighth, triples, semiquavers, quintuples, and 16, how you call them in English, I don't know, sextolen, quintolen, sextolen, and 8 semiquavers, all with the vibrato, always sounding 2 notes. That's when you are sure that you will have a good vibrato, when 2 notes sounds. That, and as well to always work on the horizontal angle of your bow strokes. Mostly, especially in Vienna, you see the bass player raising the arm up, and the bow goes like a ship on the ocean, and the bow should be actually stroking straight. You don't see violinists playing like that or cellists playing like that. The bow just strokes to the right, and anything else is just ignorance. And for that, you just need to practice in front of a mirror, long notes. From the frog to the tip, you stroke straight, with the stick nearly touching the string to see really the edge of the hair, of the bow hair in the mirror, and then you see how that bow goes from the frog till the tip, completely plain, yeah, completely horizontal, not up and down, losing the contact point on the string. I think the noises in the string starts when the bow hair moves its contact point in the string. And this is also very basic mistakes that I see around. Of course, you can change the contact point between 2 notes, in between, but not within 1 note. And this is a very common lag in nowadays playing, I find. So these are quite the main exercises I would recommend. Also, if you bite the string in the same angle of the bow hair and the stick to the string, in the frog you bite the string and then you hold that stick and the bow and go on the air, not touching the string, really not avoiding to, that the bow jumps and moves and trembles, and you go to the tip with that, in one line. It helps you to stroke more straight. This is a very good thing that I always am seeking for, and of course I fail sometimes, especially when I'm so into the music and that I forget the technical aspects. But this should be for us like toothbrushing, If you go out without toothbrushing, the people can notice that yeah, that you just jump off your bed and went out.
Now I'll just show you an exercise that I think even you jazzers would like, because this is a bow that gives you clarity, and you can play all kinds of riffs, really a lot of clarity if you practice this bowing in advance. What you do is you keep the bow flat on the strings, and for all down bows, you place the bow close to the G string, and when you draw the bow, that's all you need, not about 1 centimeter, not much more. You draw the bow close to the G string on the down bows. Then on the up bows, you draw the bow as close as you can get without touching on the A string. And so it looks like this. It looks like I'm playing on 2 strings. And the important thing is, if you look at my arm, you don't want this part of your arm looking out. You want it sideways, and it should stay absolutely straight, and you should be changing strings or doing the A and the G. Actually, in solo tuning, it's the A on top and the B on the bottom. But anyhow, you want the arm to stay straight, and you want to change with the arm. No wrists, no fingers. You don't want to do this with the bow either. You want it just absolutely flat as much as you can. On French bow, it's the same thing. You don't want this part of your arm out. You want it sideways, and you want to make sure that you're using the entire arm.
I could indeed recommend something as a technical exercise, which helped me a lot when I was a student and I was still developing and establishing my technique. I've actually based my technical exercising, I was playing a lot such exercises which I could describe, they were just calibrating my technique. And I mean with that, for instance, I loved to play very even exercises by all means, like very rhythmically in a strictest tempo from beginning to the ending, and I was very often using by my technical exercises full length of the bow, and I've tried to keep the intensity of the tone and the tone color and the loudness absolutely identical from the beginning till the ending, and doing the bow change with if possible by remaining the weight of the bow in the string unchanged. So that would be, I hope people can understand what I'm trying to describe. I think a perfect bow change, it's just described so well in some really old methods, like for instance Leopold Mozart, father of Wolfgang Amadeus, he described that playing very close to the bridge, quite loud sound but beautifully sounding, and very even sound, and during the bow change trying to do it as legato as possible without doing a gap, without doing any accent, and by the goal would be to keep the weight in the string almost unchanged and still learn how to produce a beautiful sound. That would be actually an ideal bow change, which is also applicable and compatible with doing it very quickly, because pieces which are later very fast, the most complicated pieces, are basically only this bow change move from the wrist and the fingers. So anything which is avoiding any moves, any unnecessary moves by playing an instrument is a good idea. And for the left hand is similar things, just avoiding this. The most disastrous that I can see with young people who didn't have luck to have a good education before is that they do often with double bass this, I like to call it duck feet technique, duck feet behavior, you know. And lifting of the index finger on the double bass is a very bad thing. So one should just keep always the fingers which are also in inactive conditions. So like if you would not, I will now play just with a let's say with a small finger, just moving it as a group, rest of the fingers, not lifting the index finger from the string, or also this thing. So basically the index finger keeping it down on the string, and the same behavior with the middle, and also no duck feet, please, young players, don't forget this. That would be a nice way to go. And also with the left hand keeping the contact with the instrument, also with the shiftings, avoiding any unnecessary moves. That's, I think, the best way I can just put it into a few sentences.
Mainly, basically, it's the role of the wrist and all kind of exercise in relation with that. And especially the technique used for jazz violin players is the combination of détaché, lié, link and seconded, I think, like this. Then so this kind of movement and phrasing, it's something I always practice with many kind of exercise. I can, find some new exercise each day depending on what I have to play. And but it's very helpful to make your bow playing more free, more flexible, and it helps to improvise.
I never had a particular set of technical exercises that I kept working on for a long period of time. To me, it is a combination of physical technique and mental ability, collaboration between the muscles and the joints, connection between the mind and the body, and the efficiency of the use of time that give the player the possibility to achieve higher performance goals in the shortest amount of time. The best evidence is the prodigies on any given instrument who did not have the luxury of time to do technical exercises for many years before becoming great at what they do. I believe the natural role of the double bass is an ensemble instrument, and most bass players will need to be an ensemble player for practical reasons. In my teachings, I like to emphasize on the importance of ensemble playing and the techniques that it requires. I think getting a good sound is crucial. It cannot be achieved unless finding the right balance between the intensity and the relaxation of the body, as well as understanding the relationship between the body and the bass. Being able to play in tune requires knowing the geography of the fingerboard with good ear training and muscle memory. We need to understand different bow strokes for different styles of music and the sound that it requires to blend in with other instruments in the ensemble or to stand out in the spotlight. We also need to be able to do variations of the vibrato in terms of speed and intensity to go along with the music and the emotions that we portray. So there is no one technique that I can think of that is more important than others. They all have to work together. And any particular technique we need to develop through different steps and stages. And how quickly the player masters the technique depends on the mind and the level of efficiency. Practicing scales and arpeggios is good because most of music are constructed with scales and arpeggios. And we can accomplish all the things I have just mentioned through practicing them. What is more important than what to practice is how to practice. Set a high standard and make sure to not lose the concentration. I believe there is such thing called deep practice, and that's when you immerse yourself deeply inside your mind with exceptional focus on the things you desire to improve.
I can show this really old-looking book. So yeah, it's a Kreuzer. The 18, we only have 18 Kreuzer exercises, but I think they are really super important. Yeah? So I'm a fan of a kind of this old-fashioned Simandl books, which go really step by step, up, and continue and repeat. And for the left hand, it's really fantastic. And same game is a bit the Kreuzer for the right hand. So you have several exercises and then more than 2 pages of different bowings. And I did this school when I was studying, and I profited a lot because I have a really automized right arm. And this we have to find. Yeah? We cannot think about, oh, how do I use my bow and then play something difficult, only thinking on the left hand. So our boss is here. So, and the left hand is more kind of a slave. Just have to work really good, and the soul is really here. Yeah. So one of my favorite is the Kreuzer exercise number 7. Going 2 pages in 6 tones. So so if you start to do this, it's difficult. 2 pages like this is really difficult. But yeah, in this way you automize your bow. It's really kind of work. Stop thinking if you think it's helpful or not. Of course, it's important to know how it works. Your right arm, this, and then to automize it. So I propose Kreuzer exercise, and yeah, well, there are hundreds of good exercises, also from Mr. Findeisen, from Kaimi, from Bengali, from Nani. So we have something to do.
So what did you think? Did you enjoy this? Have you learned something new? Are these the same exercises that you've been practicing as well? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. And of course, click that like button to encourage us to do more videos like this. Thank you to everybody who took part, all of these incredible musicians, and thank you for watching at home and supporting what we do. Keep practicing hard, and we'll see you next time.